Okay, welcome to this first episode of the weekly random or the random weekly update. In this series of videos, actually, we are going to speak about it's actually the follow-up of my weekly updates during the FNF Haskell testnets, and we saw that people seemed to like it. And so we are starting now this series of video where I will mostly be discussing subjects, things happening in the ecosystem, and I guess you will kind of like understand the the purpose of this series during this video, and you will understand, I guess, the concept, if I may say like that. So, today we have two things, actually, two things and a little third one, which we are going to be talking about. Let me just the camera. Okay, here it is. First thing is the big stake pools and YouTuber pools controversy, and then controversy, and second thing is the I guess the positioning of Cardano in the current now multi-chain ecosystem. With Ethereum, with Polkadot, with Solana, with all these new chains. Ethereum is not new, but I guess Polkadot, Solana, and these types of things are all new chains and emerging. And I think that's it's important to discuss about where Cardano is going, where is it placing itself in this ecosystem. So, and then the third one is a little bonus at the end. So let's begin with the controversy. So for those who don't know what I'm talking about here, there are a lot of, I guess, mostly little stakepool operators who are kind of like angry, I guess, at bigger stakepool operators like I guess 1% pool, Digital Fortress, Bloom pool, these either low fee stake pools or YouTuber pools, if you may call them that way. And the controversy is mostly about, all these stake pools are operating multiple stake pools, and so people argue that it's not competitive, that it's not good for the ecosystem, that it's not really not what should be happening for the protocol, and that kind of stuff. And I think that I guess ideologically they are mostly right? Like it makes sense to avoid as much as possible having entities which have multiple stake pools. At least at this stage, when K is like 2000, obviously then it's possible. And then I would argue that it even would make sense actually to have multiple stake pools. But with currently K being, I think it's 150 right now, it doesn't. It's really not actually good for the protocol to have multiple people running one person running multiple stake pools, because it limits the chances of other stake pools running. However, this is just ideologically, obviously, and that's a big however, because the thing is that there are two sides on this question. The first one is the stake pool operator side. And on that part, I think that all these YouTubers, if you can call it that way, Rick McCracken, Big Pay, and I guess forgot his name. Not going to mention him. All these YouTuber pools who are operating and who are operating in multiple stake pools, it makes sense, right? They are just doing what they are supposed to do, which is maximizing profits. That's the goal, that's capitalism. And so they are doing what they are intended to do, which is maximizing profits. and so creating multiple stake pools. That makes total sense. So on the stake pool operator side, they're totally right, actually. And I think that if there is a problem with that, it's not on the stake pool operator side, it's on the protocol side. And so there needs to be something changed in order to, I guess, avoid or limit the possibilities for someone to run multiple stake pools, or at least, make it more difficult. And it's actually already the case. I think that's the first Cardano improvement proposal, CIP01, which is covering this, in which I don't think it has been adopted yet, but it will introduce a different model for pledging. But I think it will actually cover that in also a new series of videos, where we will cover Cardano improvement proposals. But that's for later. So. But then, so that's for the stake pool operator side. So for the stake pool operator side, I think that they're totally right? They're just doing what they're intended to do, which is maximizing profits. On the other side, there is also the, I guess, influencer and Cardano ambassador side, which is the argument that says, well, hey, they are influencers in this community, and so they should be leading by example. And they should be, giving the example by only creating one stake pool and not trying to get as many stake pools as possible to the situation. I guess that's an argument. I'm not sure it's the right one, because if people, like, plenty of people have delegated to these stake pools, so that shows that, well, people are actually willing to do it. There is demand for it. And so, it's I don't think there is a right answer to this question, but either way, I don't think that either way, like, I don't think that the right way of doing things it's to attack these people. If it's not them, it will be someone else who will do it. They're just doing what they're supposed to do, and so I guess that the right way of doing things would be to start debating on what the ideal solution would be, and then to actually create a CIP so that things move forward. And yeah, I will actually be covering this first CIP, which is actually trying to cover this issue, I think later this week. But yeah. By the way, this series of video is called Random Weekly Updates, and the random is here specifically to justify the fact that these videos will be random, right? So don't expect expect them to come every Monday or every. I don't expect them to come also every week. It's random. That's why it's in the title. So, and then second part of this video, let's now talk more about positioning. Actually, I'm kind of like, yeah, that's yep, yeah, that's better. So let's talk now about the positioning of Cardano in the blockchain ecosystem. So as you may have heard, Polkadot launched this month, in Solana. I think it was no. So Solana has been launched previously. I think it was around May. I think they launched, and there's also Near, which just launched or should be launching. I don't know. But so you have all of these new blockchains which are emerging. There's also Avalanche, which is also coming. Coda. So there are quite a few big players which are emerging. And what's interesting about that is that all of these new players are trying to position themselves as something. And then there's Cardano. So, what I'm trying to explain here is that, like, you have Ethereum, and Ethereum is kind of like the center of all, right? And I guess the current biggest competitor to Ethereum is Polkadot, and Polkadot did actually no, the biggest competitor to Ethereum 2.0 is Polkadot, and Polkadot has been very smart. These guys have been very smart about their positioning, because they have positioned themselves as kind of like an interoperability protocol. And I guess they kind of like get people to believe that with Polkadot you have one main chain, and then you can and then you can connect your own blockchain to it, and these blockchains, these connected blockchains to this big blockchain are called parachains. And so with all this fancy marketing, people actually now believe that when you can actually have a blockchain and then connect it to Polkadot, and that way you have a parachain. Well, actually, you are actually fully based on Polkadot. It's actually the exact same thing as what Ethereum 2.0 will be with sharding. So sharding is essentially saying, okay, let's have a big platform, and we are going to place a ton of buckets, put some water in it, and then you can play in all these buckets, right? And so each bucket is kind of like its own chain, but you can move seamlessly through all these buckets. That's just the basic idea. Well, Polkadot is essentially doing the exact same thing, but just thanks to its clever, very clever marketing, people now actually believe that when you build a parachain, it's like your own blockchain, and you can actually, like, it's your thing and all of that. Well, it actually isn't. It's just like a shard, like it would be on Ethereum 2.0. So I think the biggest competitor currently for Ethereum 2.0 is Polkadot, and Polkadot is really growing fast. I think that's, at the time of recording this video, its market cap is already like, I think it's like $6 billion, while it actually just launched. So it's really a rapidly growing ecosystem. It has already a ton of parachains actually. Edgeware, I think it's Pulu or something like that, like a proof of work governance focus chain. I can't remember its name. There's also Kusama, which is it's kind of like it's experimental chain. So it's actually a clone of Polkadot, but where you can do everything you want. And I know that the Web3 Foundation, which is the global entity behind Polkadot, has already been giving grants to, I think, like more than 100 entities. So really, it's a huge thing. So you kind of like have these two big players. So Ethereum 2.0 and Polkadot. And Ethereum 2.0 phase 0, so staking, is launching actually this year, end of the year. But it's only staking, so you will not be able to make any transactions on the network. You can just move it to Ethereum 2.0, stake it there, and then it will be locked during, I think it's like 18 months to 2 years, I think, until you can actually move it, because that's the period of time when they will launch phase 1, when you will be able to make transactions on the network. So that's for Ethereum 2.0 and then Polkadot. Then you have all these new, I guess, without any concept chains, I like to call them that way, or VC chains. And so what I understand with VC chains are, Solana, Near, essentially chains which launched with the initial idea that scalability was a concept, and that you could build a whole ecosystem based on scalability, which, well, we all know it now, no one cares about scalability, really. Like when you see on Ethereum, people are paying tens, if not hundreds of dollars of fees currently to participate in the decentralized finance ecosystem. And really, no one cares about scalability, really. It just doesn't matter. And so these, specifically Near and Solana, are now emerging, and well, they don't have actually a valid concept, right? They don't have a clear focus, they don't have a target market, and they haven't been able to fund grants like Polkadot has been able to do. They actually also don't have fancy marketing like Polkadot has. And so what they're actually now doing, which is kind of like smart too, is that they're positioning themselves as layer 2 solutions for Ethereum. So they're trying to take advantage of the fact that Ethereum is really costing a lot in terms of transaction fees, and is really, well, it's not slow, but it's incredibly expensive. And so they're positioning themselves as layer 2 solutions with bridges, with integrations, and you kind of like already have projects building in it, big projects. You know, Solana has FTX, which is a huge exchange, which is building it, which is building its Serum project, it's called, which is a decentralized exchange. You have Near, which has already one big thing, which is live now, I think, which is called Flux Markets, which is a prediction market protocol. But they're still very early, you know, compared to Polkadot. They're just nowhere near adoption. And you know, Polkadot, I guess I'm pretty confident that these guys will pretty much succeed in building a valid competitor to Ethereum 2.0, while I'm not sure Solana and Near are there yet. They may, but they're still very, very early. And then you have Cardano. And it's not sure where Cardano is going, right? It's, you know, Cardano's like different in this, because all these new things are, all these new chains are rapidly emerging, and you have Cardano, which is kind of like on the sides, and it's not clear where it's going. I think Cardano is actually going on a different path. And what I mean by that is that, you know, Polkadot, Ethereum 2.0, Solana and Near, they all are trying to become the chain. At least Ethereum 2.0 and Polkadot, Solana and Near are now trying to position themselves as scalable layer 2 solutions. But otherwise, Polkadot and Ethereum 2.0 are trying to position themselves as really world computers. And it's actually not a bad thing. But it means that there is an opportunity for other chains to position themselves in more niche sectors, if I may say it like that. And that's where Cardano comes in. Because Cardano has clear focus, which is finance. And it has a clear target markets, actually two, which is Africa and Japan. And so I think that that's where Cardano is positioned itself. You know, finance is specifically focused on Africa and Japan. And I think that with its also radically different architecture, you know, Ethereum is an account-based chain. Cardano is UTXO. So that's already something which is quite different. You know, Ethereum is using Solidity. It's mostly focused on just building, I guess, a chain for everything, while Cardano has been really made specifically for finance, with Plutus and especially Marlowe, which has specifically been made to allow, you know, your regular MBA to create a financial dApp. So I think that that's where Cardano is going. And while Ethereum has already found its valid use case, its first actually valid use case, which is DeFi, so decentralized finance, it lacks currently one thing to be able to bridge centralized finance and decentralized finance. And in my opinion, that's on-chain identity. You can't expect a bank or another, you know, regulated financial entity to create something on a chain where there is no, at least currently, way of authenticating your users. And while that's possible to build on top of Ethereum, Cardano will have that out of the box with, I think it's called Prism, which is the IOHK, identity solution IOHK is developing, and which will allow users to have an on-chain identity on Cardano. And so I think that that's something where Cardano could actually have a huge opportunity in building bridges between centralized finance and decentralized finance. So that was it for the 2 parts of this video. It's actually a quite long video. The next 2 updates will, I guess, be well, shorter, normally around 10 minutes. But this is just because it's the first big video. And then the bonus is that we actually just released today the POA documentation hub, which is the I guess the updated version of our guides.poapool.com platform, which was the platform where we had all our guides for the ITN and the HTN, so the Insta testnet and the Haskell testnets. And so with this documentation hub, which you can access at docs.poapool.com, we are essentially trying to create a full hub with plenty of guides and documentation regarding Cardano. And really, the core idea is like with our previous platform, like in V1 with guides.poapool.com, the idea is really to create a platform where anyone can create anything from anywhere. So we have currently one stake pool, our first stake pool guide, which is actually live, which you can follow. You will learn how to set up a stake pool using DigitalOcean with 2 servers, and really it's from 0 to 1. So you can start with absolutely zero knowledge, and we explain everything you need to in order to be able to create your own stake pool. And this is really the first release. We are going to start having multiple releases every month now. Actually, based on weekly updates, because I think that's just makes much more sense. As you know, the protocol is rapidly evolving. You know, Cardano is rapidly evolving, and so we need to bring quick changes. And the idea is also to have it in multiple languages. So actually, starting tomorrow, I'm going to send it to our team of translators. And the idea is to have, like, our team is actually, our own team is actually currently already working on a French translation, as well as a native African language. I think it's Pidgin, I think, which is spoken by literally tens of millions of people in Africa. So that's something which is really huge. And then we will also have community translators who will be translating it in other languages, but I won't say which because, you know, these things take time, and I'm not sure everybody will want to translate all these guides, because that takes a lot of time and effort. So that's it for the POA documentation hub. I hope you liked this first random weekly update. If you liked it, make sure to like and leave a comment. You know, that helps us. Make sure also to follow us, and make sure actually to also, and most importantly, delegate to us, because that's how we can do all these cool things. And we are currently still a very little stake pool with just 1.7 million stake. So you know, your delegation will have a lot of impacts on the stake pool. So go delegates, and see you next week.